Welcome everyone to the 8th episode of our Gran Turismo 4 Germanlocke. Today we're going to be doing the Turbo Sports event. Now originally I was planning on doing a Mark V GTI for this video, but I feel like it's best practice after doing so many VW focused videos to give VW a little bit of a break. We are still going to build a Mark V GTI on this series at some point, but for now we're going to try out one of the other brands we have had yet to try in this series, that being Opel. So outside of Opel and Audi, we've used everything. We've got a Mercedes, we've got multiple VWs, we've got a Roof and a BMW. So it's time to give one of the two brands that have had yet to debut here their time to shine. So we're going to pick up an Opel Speedster Turbo. Now, I absolutely adore the Opel Speedster. It's one of my favorite cars to ever leave the brains at GM. And I grew up with this car through Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2, out of all things. And so I fell in love with these. I have a Hot Wheel of a Speedster lying around somewhere. So I'm very excited to get to build one on video for you guys, finally. I think I've talked ad nauseum in other series, whether it be Forza or otherwise, how much I've wanted to do a build series with an Opel Speedster in some of these games. So now we finally get to do that. So this car, I'm going to be copying the ethos from the Mercedes. I'm not going to go crazy with the suspension setup or anything like that. The main focus is going to be on handling. We're going to add a tiny bit of power to make sure that we're competitive in the field that we're going to be racing in, which I presume is going to be stuff like Evos. I don't expect like a crazy grid or anything like that. Not a ton of power, but we have to remember this is a fairly lightweight car. This is a car that doesn't weigh a ton. So we're going to be, having a bit of an advantage on the weight side. I mean, this is a very lightweight car. The Speedster is a featherweight. So I'm really excited to enjoy this one and see what we can do. So we're going to drop the weight a little bit. See, 944 kilograms is just stage 1 weight reduction, and it makes just north of 200 horsepower. May still, excuse me. May still do, let's do a stage 1 turbo upgrade. Just basic, doesn't need anything crazy. We'll do an intercooler and we'll call it. I just want to make sure we're competitive. I don't want to dominate, which is why I'm not immediately jumping to this. Because I don't need to. I mean, it's going to make plenty of power on its own. So yeah. And we are going to add aero to this car. Second time in this series we've done that. I am going to put brakes. Can't forget the brakes. And I guess I'll go ahead and add some transmission goodies too. Might as well go ahead and do the clutch and flywheel, all that good stuff. Make this thing as much as a basic race car as we can. And I want to enjoy this. I want this to be a fun championship series. I don't want this to be extremely dominant like we've had in some of the past episodes. I like winning, but I don't like winning constantly. I like having especially when it's easy. I like having a bit of a challenge. So, alright, finally, we're done with the general modifications of the car. We're going to go add aero to it. And, yeah, there's a significance behind the choice of yellow. The yellow was the color that introduced me to the Speedster, and it's always been my favorite color this Speedster came in. So, that's why I picked it in yellow. It was, like I said, I played Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 as a kid, and the first time I ever saw the Opel Speedster, it was yellow. So, it's also the color of the Hot Wheel I have of the Speedster, or Matchbox, whichever one. Or was it one of the Maestos? I think it's one of the Maestos. So yeah, I just absolutely adore these cars. All right, we got the oil change done. Let's go ahead and toss a wing on it. We're gonna go with, I think, we're gonna go with the same one we went with on the E46. Kind of simple. And then wheels, we're going to do... See, I've done BBSs on every car, but wheels on so far. Unfortunately, Koenig's not in here, and I actually run Koenig's on my IRL car, my real car. So let's go with Speedline. Let's see what Speedline's got. I think they've got some wheels that look kind of like Rega Masters. I kind of like these. They look more like 1552s, stuff like that. Kind of like TEs kind of deal. These look kind of like Regas. I don't think this is the car that works for gold wheels, so we're going to go with like white or silver. We're going to go with these because they look identical to Rayga's. I know that I said they look like 1552s earlier, but they do look a lot like Rayga's. I don't know if the white on yellow was a good move, but I'm sure it looks fine. And let's hit up the events. Where are they at? I feel like there it is. All right, we got 5 single races. This should be fun. I have a good feeling this is going to be just a fun series. All right, let's see our grid. We've got a FDRX7. We've got a Buick Grand National, a GNX, same thing. We got a Neon SRT4. We have an Evo 8RS, one of my favorite Evos, and a B5 S4. So it should be a pretty fun battle here. Should have done the B5 S4 for this, for a good time's sake. See what the Speedster can do. Right away, we're not immediately blowing off everybody here, so it looks like we're doing pretty okay. This thing's quiet. Uh-oh. It's not the first time we've had controller issues this series. For some reason, I've noticed that, like, a lot of times, the controller can't decide what mode it wants to be in. If it wants to be SDL1 or SDL0. Alright, let's try this again. Now that I can brake. Go with some late braking down the inside here. We got the Grand National right where we want him. Oh, he's going to kind of close the door on us a little bit. That turbo falls off so hard. I'm just watching the boost gauges. It just drops. It's very much a low-end punch turbo because like it's making no boost up top. But so far, I mean, it's a pretty... it's a good battle, so I'm liking that. You know, it's not been... I'm not all out just dominating this race. Of course, this is very much a speed course. Like, the RX-7 and the Evo are going to be right at home here. I mean, the Grand National, too. Grand Nationals aren't slow. But I'm hoping that this car's more featherweight nature kind of kicks in. And the fact that it makes decent power still is able to bring it home for us here. Maybe not. The Grand National's keeping up. Man. Maybe it needs more power. That's weird. That's unfortunate. I thought for sure it'd be competitive towards the front, but that RX-7 is running away, and I'm getting bumped by the Evo back here. It's only a 5-speed. See if we can at least try to salvage this race a little bit. That RX-7 is apparently very fast, so... Oh gosh. Oh man, it kind of pulled me a little bit. We've actually lost space to him rather than gain like I was hoping I would. So we may actually need to crank up the Speedster a little bit here. Let's see if we can salvage this a little bit. Yeah, we're losing time. Man, I didn't expect that. I didn't expect the AI to come ready to fight me. The fact that the S4 is going to get around me. Wow. See if we can get back around him. I don't think we will. He's definitely got a top speed advantage that I don't have for some reason. If only the sound was better in this game, was more accurate, because those S4s sounded fantastic. I'm be surprised if the Evo catches me by the end of this lap. This car apparently is not really doing well in the pace department. We're able to get back around the S4. I know we're not gonna be able to fight for P2 here. I may have it right now, but this car apparently is very lacking in the pace department. We've lost another like second to that leader. Oh, yep, that's GG's. We got bumped. Oh, the S4 lost it too. Well, that just opened the door for the Buick and the Evo to catch back up, and I am most definitely finishing P3. Or worse, honestly. This is not going well for me at all. Man, I was excited to build this car for the videos, and I'm getting completely waxed. I just got to defend hard. I mean, these guys are significantly faster than me on the straights here, and this track is very straight line biased. S4's gone off again. Oh, it spun. Big spin. Still going to wind up taking P3. The Buick is just a tiny bit faster than we are on the straights. No, the auto drive knew what to do. Not even a full 10th. Well, dang. All right, looks like we got to go back to the drawing board on this one. All right. Let's see. I'm trying to think what we can do. All right. We're going to bump up to the Stage 2 Turbo. It's going to get us up to 280. I think that's going to be more than enough to be competitive. I did not expect this car to be so far off the pace. I fully expected it to be fighting at the front and ready to go. And, I mean, we were barely finishing on the podium. So, let's try again. If not, we'll come back to it. The kind of the point of this was trial and error and to build these cars to be better as time went on. You know, the dominance the roof and the R32 had was pretty nuts, but I mean, we got a 3000 GT VR4, we got the Lotus Esprit, we got an SC300, which is confusing because those were never sold turbocharged. So I'm guessing it's just some coding error or just error on Polyphony's part because the SC300 was never sold with a turbo in the US. The Soarer was. The SC300 wasn't. We have an FCRX7 and a Focus RS, so this should be fun. A lot of all-wheel drive stuff. It's going to be ruining me out of the gate. And this turbo is just as bad. It's just falling off at the top. It's a pretty rough power band for a car like this to have. I'm going to kind of interject in here. I mean, the Lotus kind of battling it out here. He's got some serious power on me, but I think I can get him in the corners. Ooh, the brakes did not help me out much there. Yeah, the Lotus is very fast in its straights. In these like faster corners, I think I might be in trouble. The fact we're in the lead at all, though, is pretty good considering we couldn't even take the lead in the last run. Oh, I was going too fast. See if we can salvage it. Well, you bumped me. Didn't really help his case very much. They're still able to get back around me. I really wish this had a 6th gear. That wide turn there kind of bottled me a little bit. Come on. Sorry for no comments here. I'm locked in, trying to make sure I can pull this one off. I've got a lot of faith in this car now. It's going to be tight. I mean, that's only a second gap. And we're entering the fastest section of the track where the Lotus will reel me right back in with no issue. Just got to find a way to keep him off of me on the main straight, which is going to be really difficult to do if I'm going to win this. That's cool. Bottled that defensive maneuver up. He's running away. It's not even close. He's already pulled a second ahead of me. See if I can try to catch him. I don't think I'm going to. I think this is going to be another loss. This car just does not have the horsepower. It has the cornering all day. It just doesn't have the straight line speed to take this home. Oh, he's run off. I thought that was about to happen. Oh, but it bottled him, so karma. That may have just handed me the win. That little mess up. I think I can kind of rest comfortably a little bit now. As long as I don't bottle it. Alright, final corner. Let's bring this one home. That was a tough win, and it had, you know, the AI not sucked for a second there, it probably wouldn't be a win at all, but I'll take it. I will take this win. Better than nothing. So where'd he wind up? He dropped all the way to 5th because of that accident. That's wild. Well, he just pulled back up to 4th. Definitely wasn't the best race we've had. Like I said, if the AI didn't intervene in a way, that wouldn't have been a win at all. But I'll take it. I will take that any day. Alright, we're riding over to Tokyo. This is going to be another like faster paced track. But I feel like I'll have a bit more help here because I'll be able to utilize the arrow a little bit more. We'll see how this goes. See, we got the Delta, we got the STI, we've got a Eclipse, an S4, and an Evo 8 RS. So pretty stacked. Again, a lot of all-wheel drive stuff. I think I'm only like one of maybe two-wheel drivers here. That's if the Eclipse isn't all-wheel drive. We're already up into P4. They're catching up behind me. I'm hoping I can get through these faster sections of the track here and bring it back a little bit. These all-wheel drive guys are going to be able to fire out of corners way faster than me, but maybe not. This weak turbo on this car is not helping me out here. Ooh, a lot of understeer, but we were able to get just enough rotation to straighten back out. So the STI is kind of getting away from me. I knew I should have downshifted there. Okay. Oh gosh, that bump. This is not going to plan at all. These are by far the toughest races we've had yet. I knew that was coming a little hot. Alright, we got one more lap. Let's see if we can try to catch him a little bit. He's got some pretty good straightaway power, though. What is up? How are these guys so fast in the straights? Makes no sense. Other than the AI's using modified cars now all of a sudden. Which would make sense. Trying. I don't think it's going to happen. I think that super is going to get me. Apparently this car is just super underpowered for this. I had a lot of faith in this car going into this, and I am losing it more and more as time goes on here. And the turbo's not even making positive boost. It's in vacuum almost at you know, at red line. Yep, I think it's over. I gotta somehow find a way to fix the deficit on the straightaways with this car, because that's what's killing it. We may have to bump up to stage 3. I really don't see much of a way out of, you know, getting this car to be fast on the straights other than just putting a bigger turbo on it. You know, obviously there's little things we can do like the exhaust and stuff, but to get that kind of deficit fixed, like, because we're not just getting beat, we're getting beat. Like, this is not going well for me at all. Alright, well, we tried. 4-second gap. We just need some more steam. And that's really this car's biggest issue, is just does not make the horsepower. So I guess our only option is to bump up the turbo again. It's pretty unfortunate. Like I said, I had a lot of high hopes for this car. I've always loved this car. So for it to be the car that I thought would probably be the biggest chance of being the most dominant, and instead I'm getting absolutely waxed left and right in it. Alright, this is the biggest turbo they allow you to put on this car in this game. So we're going for it. I'm putting the exhaust on it because, like I said, I don't think this car has it. I think there's something that's somehow holding this thing back. So as much as I didn't mind how it sounded, it's just going to sound like garbage now. So outside of that, we're not messing with anything else. Everything else is staying the same. I'm trying not to over-dominate this game with this car. Okay. Take 3. And I think we still have 3 races to do after this. And it's all fast tracks. They picked like the most fastest tracks in the game. That's unfortunate for us. Alright, let's try this. Alright, so the grid for this one, we got the STI, we've got a GTR, R34. We got another S4, we got a Delta, and we got a Supra, so may have a better shot this time out. Alright. Again, like, no boost at redline. Why are all the turbos on this thing make Garbo boost at redline? And we're still, like, struggling. So we're faring a lot better this time out, though. The gearing is also not doing this car justice. Come on. I'm really disappointed, honestly, in this thing. I was looking forward to this thing being really good. But the fact it's got the biggest turbo, and I was struggling to get around that Subaru. So I know it says stay in third, but when you're like at like 2,000 RPM in third exiting that corner, it's not gonna help out very much. This looks good. It's a good looking car. Even with this giant wing on the back of it. I should probably pay attention. Another rough corner there, but it's fine. This car is definitely overpowering its own brakes now. Like, it's too fast for the brakes, it seems like. Come on. Man. I don't really have a lot of faith in this car right now, so I'm like playing it really safe, and it's biting me a little bit because everyone's catching up. Come on. Like, this is almost fully built, and I'm still only a second and a half ahead. It's wild. Well, it's still a win. It's way too close, but it's a win. All right, on to round 3. All right, we got high speed ring next, so another fast track. Seem to be doing a little bit better in top speed, so maybe this will be, a little bit easier. And then I saw we had New York in midfield after this, so. We'll say this track on Torch Trophy on the bikes is really fun. Definitely gonna run out of gear. Gearing on this car really does not do it any justice. Oh gosh. Okay. Like the traction aids are getting way too involved. Maybe that's part of the issue with this car. The traction aids are just super invasive. Final corner. We're doing pretty okay. It's a pretty sizable gap at the moment. It's crazy we were barely able to win the last race, and then now it's like I'm absolutely running with this one. Like I said, I like this car, but I'm just kind of a little disappointed in it. I mean, this one is kind of surprising that I'm this far ahead after barely being able to pull away in Tokyo and getting absolutely dominated at Fuji on what is like still a really fast course. So it's almost like this car is too slow in the corners. Which wouldn't make sense considering it's Lotus Elise underpinnings. Still got one more lap. But I think for the race cars that we're going to have to use in this series, like the DTM stuff, and obviously for the GCWC, the World Championships, I mean, probably we'll rock a Audi R8 if I can get a hold of one. That's going to be a good dilemma. Because those are a nightmare to get a hold of. But I think I am going to get the, probably the A4 race car for the DTM stuff, so we can get a hold of the CLK. I would love to have the CLK and the R8 and see which one's faster on the track. Even though I'm sure it'd probably be the R8, but it's really our only big ticket options for the World Championships for a German-only lineup. Man, holy understeer. The traction aids are getting really annoying how involved they're getting. Like, I get why. Maybe I just need to decrease the sensitivity of them because give this thing a little bit more slip because I'm losing so much speed from it kicking in the corners. Like, if I'm on the verge of spinning out, yeah, I want it to catch me, but when I'm just taking a corner like normal and it's kicking in, like, it's kind of annoying. But that is a win. Pretty dominant win, but which I don't understand, considering I was barely winning the other races. This car has taken a lot more money to build than I intended for it to. Alright, 2 more races left. We got New York in midfield, and that'll wrap this one up. Let's hope that we're able to compete here. I mean, we haven't had the best luck so far. We are going to touch this a little bit. I am going to change some of the settings here on the driving aids. We're going to decrease this to 2 and decrease all of these down. So we can get this thing to be a little bit more slippy, but that means less interference. So we got the Eclipse, the Focus RS, we got an FCRX7 with an R34 and an the Evo 8 RS. So pretty alright size grid, pretty alright lineup. Let's see if we can make this happen with our little speedster. Right away, we're just getting obliterated. Not a good omen for the race. We are going backwards. I just noticed this is a reverse layout. And the brakes are not doing too hot. I have the racing brakes on it. Man. Ah. It's like it's giving it throttle with traction control. Which is the weirdest thing. We're about to hit one of the straights though, so let's see how she does on the straight here. Brakes are still less than desirable. Got a second gap on the Focus, and we are pulling away, it looks like. Let's see if we can hang on for dear life here. Man, I was on the brakes pretty good too. Pretty good time. Still barely was able to slow down. Little Cadillac. That's not gonna end well. Yep. These brakes are dog water. I'm not even hitting the gas. Like, that is the weirdest thing. Why is the traction control like almost giving it throttle? It's really helping me more than it is anything. It's not really letting me slow down. May have to honestly just disable them all together if I'm gonna get around this. Even though it's just gonna make this car really hard to drive. So far so good, 4.6 second gaps, just a little bit more dominant than before, but this car is definitely more suited now for these higher speed courses, except for these brakes. The fact that I've had not one but two full-on wall collisions when I've hit the brakes on time is pretty astonishing. Some Garbo brakes. It's definitely been the epitome of don't meet your heroes. I had such high hopes for this car. Much like the HBR32, but almost more so. It's like I'm hitting the brakes like early and I'm barely making the corner. And this, like, see, my hand, I do not have any throttle going in. And it was still accelerating. It was such a weird setup on this car. It's not really helping my case very much. I'm trying to take these corners and take them slow. By. Alright, our final trip down to the final corner here. Let's see if we can not absolutely smack this wall. Alright, there we go. Up to 100. 120. 60 or 130 is still not the best, but hey. It still cracks me up how much, pretty much this track and the Forza track are identical. Still hit the wall. It's almost like the Forza track copied this. But we are across the line. We just got one more race, and we can kind of end this one off. I mean, like I said, I've been very unimpressed with this car, and I had very high hopes. I was very much hyping this thing up. I was like, I'm totally going to use the Speedster. This should be a really good car for this. Shouldn't have to build it too fast to be at the front, and it took fully building the thing almost, with the exception of like going crazy weight reduction to pull this off. So pretty disappointed on that front, but we got one final race. We have the 3000 GT, the Buick. We've got a Lotus Esprit again. We have an RX-7, and we have an Audi S4. So hopefully I'm going to beat the Lotus on merit this time instead of it taking itself out in the final lap. And we are underway. Okay start. Not the best start I've ever had, but not the worst either. See, the traction control just immediately sends me off track. It's going to make it really hard for me to win this race. It's almost too interfering. Already 2 seconds down on the Lotus. It took one of my first online victories at this track. See, it was holding its speed. I was not slowing down. I had no throttle input. I do not understand this car. Well, the Lotus about took itself out again. Trying. See if I can get him. Okay, we got around him. The question is, will we be able to stay ahead of him forever? So I don't have good faith in that right now. So far, so good. Just north of a second. Alright, entering the final lap. We've got a decent run away from the Lotus, surprisingly. And we are way ahead of the rest of the pack. Thought I was about to bottle it. This whole run, though, has been pretty unimpressive, to say the least. It's definitely been the epitome of don't meet your heroes. I absolutely adore the Speedster still. I still think it's one of my favorite cars, but in this game, it was just not at its best, and I'm pretty bummed out about that because I've always idolized these cars, and between the really weird traction control and the fact that it took me going absolutely nuts with it to be able to compete with this level when I was under the assumption the Speedster Turbo would be pretty quick out of the box. all in all, been pretty unimpressed. So, kind of glad to get this one done with. Let's fire around here one more time. And we are almost there. Across the line. So that wraps up the Turbo Sports Challenge. Let's see what our prize car is. Kind of glad this one's over, honestly. I was honestly very unpleasantly surprised about the Opal. I don't know. All right, our prize car is. I swear if it's a Speedster Turbo. Okay. I can get down with that. The Falcon RX-7. Pretty neat. Alright, so we still have the Boxer Spirit, the Classic Car Series, the Compact Series, the Supercar Festival. So we still got plenty of fun races left to do. We haven't even done the Clubman Cup yet. I didn't even realize that. But we're kind of just handling that. I think next we're going to tackle the Compact Series. And we're going to try out the Polo GTI. But with all that said, thank you all for watching. I will see you all next time. Have a great day.